Hi, this is my shorts. My name is Brandon. Nice to meet you. I'm not doing shorts because shorts are too short because they're short. And also, I'm making videos to make videos on my computer. And I'm not sure how a computer works. But with everything, I'm literally not smart, not talented, and not good at anything. So, welcome to this. Maybe I should go get smart, but maybe I should go play some video games. Maybe I should go play some video games. Maybe I should follow my worded advice. And maybe I should live on in the future. And also, what was I gonna say? I don't know. What am I gonna say? I have to say what I'm saying, and I have nothing to say. I don't know what anything is. Well, I can reply school or something. I don't know. What I'm saying is, computers, they're like digital parts. I don't know. If I start with school, I'll be like, hey, I don't know, I edit my description. I don't know, my monitors are not pointless. I think what I should say, I don't know. Why do I say? I don't, I have a low score in life. I have no score. There's not a score in life to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. But math is just adding with the number line. Times tables as if you added them multiple times. Division is the opposite of times, and then fractions are statistics, and then slope is just basically the exponential growth I mean not exponential. Slope is the way to add, but a slope line. Um, I don't know what the bell curve is the average, and then basically the mean is the average. The range is the I don't know. I passed like elementary school. I don't know. And also whatever. Writing is the alphabet. Alphabet is the sound. Sound is the alphabet. Um, what else is there? There's geometry and area and perimeter. There's the degrees and the degrees until they make the area and perimeter of degrees. And I mean the degrees. And then the calculations for making shapes. And then there's the orthographic design to make designs. And then there's whatever. Then there's basically the body. There's the brain. There's the hippocampus. There's the brain. There's the hippocampus. There's the prefrontal cortex. There's the amygdala. There's the pineal gland. I don't know what the names are. Okay, and then you have the eye, then you have the heart, then you have the lungs, you have the throat, you have the nose, you have the mouth, the ear, and these aren't organs. And then you have the taste, then you have the feeling, then you have the stomach, then you have the liver, then you have the kidneys, then you have the privates, then you have the reproductives, and then whatever. You have the thing to build muscle, you have the thing to build muscle. And I just sat there, non existing. That's really what I did. I did nothing at all. Nothing at all. The kidneys filter out water, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure. The lungs breathe air, the heart pumps blood, and then the stomach digests food. The skin is the skin. You have nails. You have hair. You have hair. You have beard. Some people have beard. Some people have makeup. You waste out of your butthole. I mean, I'm not smart. And then the computers, they're just like zero and ones in code, and then which is Python, which is old, and then you have Blender, which is 3D modeling, and you have You have computers, which is the graphic card, and you have the processor, and then you have the RAM, and then you have the frames per second computer with the monitor, the LCD screen, and then, I mean, not the LED screen. And that's literally the entire thing I knew since I was like whenever old, and the only thing I still know now. And also, when I fall asleep, it's like closing my eyes. Everything's completely black, and I don't feel anything, taste anything, see anything. Don't taste anything, don't see it. I don't taste anything. I don't feel anything. I'm not conscious of anything. I don't remember anything. And then I wake up. I mean, after I'm done sleeping, and then blah blah blah. I'm not even in my brain. I mean, my brain might be on, my heart might be beating, but I mean, I'm not sure where I went. I just disappeared. That's completely it. And I'm not sure if that's normal. And I'm not sure if my brain is actually on while sleeping. If my brain is on while sleeping, I think if I went to a doctor's appointment where I think either people would think I'm dead, or I would go to a doctor's appointment and they would EGG while I'm sleeping, and I would not be sleeping in the sleeping because I would be awake. And they would be like, is he still alive? And they see me dying every day, and they bury me or just leave me alone. And I'm like, I'm not dying because my brain is waves. And I'll be like, and maybe I replied to my brainwaves and didn't know where I was. And I was like, yeah, maybe I don't know where I replied to my brainwaves. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they'll still be there these days. I'm more sane enough to be there if I tried. But if they did it on sudden notice, I think that'll be fine. Don't know what an EEG stands for. But it's just it's like a lie detector. I think it's a lie detector test. Yeah, they would put me in a lie detector test. A lie detector test, true. Like, they actually do anything, but that's what I would survive. And if anything, they might have do surgery on me while I'm dead or something in my brain, but they wouldn't. That's all I know. Absolutely everything I know. I know how to read, and yeah, that's all I know. Should I read more? I don't think it will help, but if it does, I mean, I have to take classes until I remember it. I knew this stuff since I was a kid. I mean, the stuff I was talking about. But what I didn't know was why would I want. No, I did it because it was fun until I just wasted my time and it was a waste of time not learning anything. I had to do the standards over again in middle school and high school. And I just basically did it on a different level of basically just doing work on different levels. And it was the same level. And I was like, that was a waste of time. And also my extracurriculars, I didn't have any because I didn't my etc. It was like Spanish for another language, and I was like, I don't believe there's other people who speak other languages. It's just like some brain filter thing that like there's some brain filter thing. I'll be like, maybe it's just their way of understanding each other, and it is. And I was like, damn, I sucked at it. So I had to take extra languages in high school, which sucked. And also for science, what did I do for science? I basically did chemistry for science, but I don't remember how to do it. I just done the same thing. It's like mass over matter, and we actually did that on paper. And I'll be like, and then basically we didn't learn anything, but we just looked at basically equal opposite reaction for chemicals, and basically you can either turn a chemical one way or the other, and that was about it. And then basically, yeah, and also one way or the other or just one way. And I knew that since I was a kid, but we looked at the formula of basically how to basically see uh yeah, I did nothing in school. I didn't do anything. I was late every day, and I only showed up like one day and then just did one day of work. And my one day of elementary school saved my life because basically, besides the chemistry, and then besides, the only thing I learned in chemistry was like weight over, like how to basically measure like how to moles or something or grams, or like how to do something in like measure the things, like it was grams of a weight. It was like basically doing algebra, not algebra. I was like doing some weird formula to basically see how you do stuff in chemistry. And that was that. And then in physics, I only learned pressure, and we were supposed to make a design for a rocket, but I didn't do anything. And this is in high school, like when I learned I didn't learn chemistry. I'm not smart. But I did the form, forgot it instantly. But it was like grams over moles, and then basically mass, and then basically you just have to calculate how much something was weighed for like for something. I don't know what it's for, and I don't think it's actually something. And then you're supposed to remember how chemicals connect, and that's how dumb I learned it, and I was like, I don't know, maybe it's smart, but what is it for? I don't know what it's for, but it's for like medicine to get the exact dose, I guess. But like milligrams, like to basically get the. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, and then we learned boiling point. I already learned solid. I already knew solid liquids and gases, but I never learned anything. I think I should go to college again, pay for college, but I don't know what classes I want to take. I don't know if I should go to college. I don't know if I'll do anything in college. Don't know why I would waste my time in school. I wasted my time in school. Maybe I waste my every day when I'm supposed to be living my life, just waiting to basically do something, and I need to learn. But I just basically yelled, I can totally. No, I was just like, this is totally something I'm supposed to do doing, and got one day of doing nothing for like middle school and high school, except I tried to make the most of my day in elementary school, and then basically I just did nothing. I didn't know the mass or basically, yeah, the pressure thing. I was like, oh, that made a sense in high school. And then we just did a water pressure. They built it for us. They bought one for us. And then in basically they did that. I basically just got the example. I don't know. I think the teachers did the work because I wasn't smart in high school due to drugs. Where basically I could still read and write and remember things, but I didn't read the test. I didn't read for the test. And in psychology, I was like, I did graduate though. In psychology, I was actually taking a test, but I couldn't retake the test. I wanted to be able to retake the test, but they did not allow me to retake the test. And maybe it was just people doing basic. Yeah, but what was it was like, I don't know. I failed the test, but it was like your brain. You have a brain cell. You have a decision cell. You can't decision cell, and inside decisions, you have park time. You have part. There's the types of forgetfulness, like park timers, Alzheimer's, and some other two. I don't know what they were. And then that was like 2 pages I gained, and then the test. I don't know what the test was on, but we watched the video that day, and I don't remember what that movie was. I don't think I was in the movie. Like, when I was watching the movie, I don't think we watched the movie or anything, but we got examples of like someone would basically be left alone and they wouldn't be helped for like 30, like if they were alone. It basically means that basically if enough people stuck with enough people, they wouldn't help the other person because other people would basically leave them alone because it's basically due to conformity that no one would help them, and they asked if we would or wouldn't help them. That's what I remembered. And then we also talked about Carl Jung, and I don't remember any papers. Maybe I should have kept the papers. And then the test was the questions, and I didn't pass them or whatever, but they let me graduate anyways. And then in middle school, we did some slope and other work, and in slope and other work, that was about it. And then we learned like some weird equation that I can't even remember for something, and I don't even remember. And then we also learned like how to basically get 2 equals 2x. So you would divide 2 divided x So if you did divided by 2 on both sides, x would equal, so 2x would equal 1. So if you put 2 times 2 times 1, 2 equals 2. Wow. That's incredible. No, it's not. And then in the elementary school, then basically I learned how to like write, blah, blah, blah. And then basically area perimeter, I don't know. And degrees, I forgot. But don't forget that a plus b plus equals c squared. A plus b a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Anyway, I mean, I learned that I don't know when I learned that. But I was like, okay then. And I learned that in middle school too. And yeah. Huh. 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 And then in elementary school, I learned how to write and read, and then do times and do adding and division and statistics. And then in middle school, I learned that you can put the decimal in the places when you move it in places. And basically in times, you can basically move the decimal 2 times. Like 1.5 times 2. So 2 times 5 is 10, and then you move it over. So let me write it. I can't. So I don't know how to write it down. So 1.5 times 2 so you move it 1 over. So it equals 1. Yeah, so it's 10, and then you move the decimal 1, so it's 1. And then yeah, and then dividing, you do the same thing but backwards. And that's all I did in middle school and high school and in elementary school for like a day. And that's all I have. So yeah, and when I read books because they were assignment for school one time. If it like I take the optional books. I don't know. I threw away like my kindergarten book of like reading a chapter book. I mean, it was new words, new words, how to do the basics of everything, of what we learned, and then chapter things we write. And I threw it away. My mom threw it away in high school. I don't know where any of my stuff is. I have the basic necessities that I don't have. And then we had lunch, which was yogurt, and then we had talent shows. We had running, which was basically that. I got basically the first half, and the second half I didn't get a trophy because I was like 2 laps off, and then some other people got trophies. And also in middle school, and then basically we did run from that. So I thought I was gonna get a trophy, but I should have run all the way. I only did like 5, and I didn't do that well. I don't know who did the best, but someone did the best, and I was like, awesome. It was at like a different school. It was like the school next to it. I don't remember why I was there. My field trip was to the Cops Car because that was only my field trip, or the zoo. It was the zoo. I also went to summer school in high school for the zoo. I learned that the heart beats for blood, and that basically, yeah. But I don't know. I think it makes blood or something. Maybe I'm in prison. I think I am in prison. I don't know when I went to prison, but I went to prison for stealing my mom's wallet, and maybe I'm still learning in prison, like chemicals and stuff. And basically, I had trial, and then I didn't even say anything, and then they were just like guilty, and they were like guilty. And also, I was gonna say in society, there's like the people who are just like the rich or the working or the normals or the can't handle life and homeless. And in my life, that would be society. But my society, I don't fit anywhere, and I'm just not part of society. But I'm living in the society that I'm living in. Of the society that I'm living in. Of what I live in is where I live in. Um, uh, uh, in the society that I'm living in. And also I think that basically in the society I'm living in, And also there's the people who basically get to be able to socialize in socializing. I just like am not the social person anymore. I just like to be alone and talk awkwardly to myself of like my worst scenarios of whatever I can think of. And I'm trying to do that on the computer, but I'm trying to open it up as basically an icebreaker to basically say anything. But it's like I have a diary of like what I'm doing right away, of like what I'm doing in the moment. Like I have to write in my diary of what exactly I'm doing or some exact thought because I have trash memory. I have trash memory of anything. Um, Trash memory of anything. But I hope I can get back thoughts and what I was doing and what I needed to do. Um, yeah. Don't know why I messed up my hair. Trash memory of what I needed to do. Um, Trash memory of what I needed to do. Um, I should figure out how to build a house because I don't know how to build a house or do water pressure or do electricity or doing that. But my father, I mean my stepfather, my sister's side of my father, um um I opened the phone and I was like trying to open it and then I scratched myself with a screwdriver because I was trying to open it. And then it like oh sorry, I was choking on spit. But I had this thing where I was like, oh, I'm gonna basically go and go basically go and um go and basically go and um um open the phone, see what's inside it, and then I didn't, and then basically the phone played a video, and I was like, it's a movie, cool. I was like, then I watched the movie, then I left it broken, and then I was like, did I just make another phone or something? I'm not sure. I was like I was confused, and then basically afterwards I smoked some weed, and it was like terrible news. I shouldn't say this though. Um, yeah. Also, I did like online school for like things of learning it, and then I took tests. I didn't take the test, but I was like basically reading every day that I had to. I read every day, and then I took the test, and I was like, well, I took the test, but I could reopen the things of what I read, so I can double check my answers. That's what I did in high school, where I just basically have something I read, I can read it and double check to read it, and then answer my answers, and just did that every day, and it was just basically a page long, and then they gave me an audio of what I should remember, so I can remember something worth saying. I was like, that's cool. Um, um, that was cool. Uh, um, um, and that's what I did. I have something stuck in my wisdom tooth. Hi, that's gross. Huh. Oh yeah, and also I learned basically. My father told. Well, he showed me it, and I was like, in elementary school, I learned like there's an LED that there's a positive and a negative charge with a battery of electricity. And somewhere on YouTube, I learned that there's current, which is basically like electric current of aluminum, copper, and then sulfate, which is basically, or it's like sulfate, and it runs an electric current but they use something else in batteries, where basically it just keeps electricity in it, and then basically they just put it on wires of aluminum wire, like metal wires, and then they just press it in to basically a motherboard. I mean, you can press it in on like a dead person, and then basically it'll react like a nerve person. like they did on that show once. I mean, on Rick and Morty, don't mention them. I don't want. I mean, their show is good, but I mean, I don't watch anything. I follow like 20 people, and there's one of them, and then I don't, and then I have no followers. But um, I have. I mean, basically, it was earlier. I was like, why do computers just have that, and they just have pieces that work together, and they just work, and I'll be like a resistor. How does a resistor work? You know, I'll be like, a resistor is a tiny little thing. A resistor is a tiny little thing, and also an amp. Why does an amp work? I have no idea, and I don't know. But I was like, damn, that's the worst looking phone. But now that I think about it, the size of it probably looks like that, and I don't know why the size would look like that. Because it's like a flat screen TV, and they probably have like some shrink ray. If you get like a shrink ray, if a shrink ray and it just fits out of a giant thing instead of that, or you just have little tiny detail hands, I'll be like, yeah, or you have some giant machine to make everything. Um, or basically just like, I don't know. What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Like, if you could just make things out of stuff. But on YouTube, I learned about DNA too, which is basically, when the DNA, I learned about DNA too. In middle school, I learned atoms, and I was like, no, atoms are the smallest thing in the universe, and you can't know they exist. I know they exist, and I'll be like, you can't. I mean, there's no way to see them with your eyes, and they discovered how to make them with a quantum accelerator. That's what they said, and I was like, nah, that's weird. But that was like probably the dumbest thing I heard. But the smart thing was that basically people started building stuff in society, where they built stuff in society, and they built stuff in society like medical help, farms, store. Medical helps, farms, and then basically build and economy, like farms, economy, and um, farms, economy, and medical help, and then basically entertainment. That's what I was thinking of. Just a game would be like, if it was like like basic, not Sim City, but like to build in a game, you just basically have to build enough livestock to make people happy, and basically that. Also, they should do some. I forgot basically the words in the video. Videos for the words was that basically the videos for the words were basically I mean I forgot the videos for words for like water recycling plant, and I'll be like, not water recycling plant, but water filter systems, because it didn't build a water filter system. But I went to a water filter system, and I don't know how basically all the rivers work. How does all the rivers work in life, in life? How does water systems work in life? And how does basically grass grow on dirt? How does grass grow on dirt? And how does water get from rivers? And also there's the rain cycle, which I don't have where I live, surprisingly. I don't know. I don't watch the weather. It's just 4 seasons that I never go to. I live on the 1 second of everything being in a normal, happy life. And as a one speck, actually. And that's what I was doing. Um, yeah, but maybe the we're running society in society, and we're all making a filter of our lives, or something. Um, but basically, I went to there on a field trip in high school where we just saw basically the animal facility, where they basically do some weird long process until they test it out on the people. But basically, it was like a 50 image thing about basically they give it to they basically give it to, they test it out on monkeys and see how it affects the monkeys, and they keep the monkeys in prison, and then basically it's like a zoo where basically they have to and we also went to a field trip to the zoo where they said that basically the field trip to the zoo was basically they feed them, they wash them, and they pick up their poop, and then basically they leave them. And then the monkey facility was they test out on the monkeys, and they say other things, and they basically do some long process to give to the people, And then the other one was that basically you had to basically recycle water by filtering it until it was drinkable. Which I thought I learned that actually when basically basically watched when I basically was watching TV once when I was like, what waters are drinkable? They said 10 out of 10 water is not that great, but they said that 7 out of 10 water is that great. And they can check like basically how clear water is instead of basically how clear a drug is. I'll be like, there's different like colors for like drugs and also water and basically like things to see like what is clear, not the water. I mean the water. There's like a level of like goodness and then badness, and then basically it's 1 to 10 for water, and then there's also like this 1 to whatever for whatever, and I don't know how to do either of those. I was like, I don't know what any of those are. Um, um, for like how clean it is, but I don't know why that one is. I don't know much about that, but it was just a video. And basically in middle school we also learned about like evolving basically passes on the best genetics. And in high school I learned that basically it passes on the best genetics out of like best genetics or best in like basically it would be like a square with like 1/4 square, and basically it picks the one how does it pick it? It picks it out of 1/4 for basically either gene. So, because 1/4, because it's like, yeah, for something. It's like if you have a six and a six, like you can do like 1, 2 on the top 2 squares above them, and then 1, 2 out of 1, 2. So basically, you could either get 1, or you could get or you could get 3, or you could get 3, or you could get 4. Kind of like that, but it's kind of basically that was like confusingly not perfect of what it was saying, but yeah. Maybe that's like for basically hair, but it's like that. Maybe I should have done yeah. Um hmm. And then yeah, that's all I know. That's literally everything I know and stuff like that. I lost all my data on my SIM card. I mean, not on my SIM card, of my phone, and emptied it on my SIM card, and I don't know where it went. And I played games, and I had fun. I did it well. Yeah, that was what I was talking about. I forgot what I was talking about or where I was going, so I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing. My Instagram feed is filled with too much that I don't know what to do with my feed, and blah blah blah. I mean, I don't have enough influence, but basically, I had my influence and then deleted it, and it gave me a few seconds of basically being happy with my life that I was able. And also, I had a lot of followers, but my followers left, and I had 500 followers and following like 1,000 people, but that left, and now I have trashy posts of it connected to my Facebook, even though I said delete both on my Instagram. And I don't know why Facebook would be part of Instagram, and Facebook and Messenger would also be part of Facebook, and also Oculus would be part of Facebook, but I think it might be. And also Meta with basically their glasses, and also they should they yeah, but if they make a camera lens, that would be cool, like basically they can basically yeah. And they said that there's holograms on them in the glasses, but I hope it's not ruined when I try them. So that's all I know really. Besides, yeah, and then basically there's just basically distance over time and time over distance or something, and then rate and then speed. I don't know that either. Um, and then the readings. Oh yeah, the reading. That was I talking about. I read books for school when I had to. In elementary school, we just had to write the chapter, and then basically just do our work, and that's all I did. And then I listened to audiobooks instead and still wrote them down. And then we had to read books in a group sometimes. And then yeah. But I forgot what I was gonna say about technology, because I forgot all the science fiction I was talking about, because I'm talking about real life right now. And then also in middle school, I don't think we had read books, but I went to Mesa and just built like a thing that I did in elementary school, where we just built like an engine, like an engine car, like not an engine car, but like a battery powered car that was just pressed by buttons, and I was like, a real car could work that way. And then in in high school I didn't do that, but I did extra credit. Also, finally, back to what I was going to say. Hey, I'm talking. Hey, if I have a disorder, I think I think there was me in basically after before when I was getting high doing schoolwork and then basically not masturbating that much. I mean, maybe doing schoolwork and then trying to go to the gym and then basically not snacking, but basically just starving myself. Um, I mean, but then getting arrested and then basically going right and then eating food and then basically going there, then going to a residential housing and then basically doing my work on paper, then basically going to basically my basically going to school, getting kicked out of school. I mean, not going to school, doing whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm not on probation. I don't care. Whatever it was, but that was whatever. My friend killed himself after I went to college. After I failed college. After basically I was going to take psychology, even though the social things were social. They're like people who are losers, and people socialize to basically conform, and people have basically live until they're 80 and stuff, and then basically just statistics of basically people don't always want to, basically people listen to talk shows and stuff because they listen to talk shows. Basically the heart basically has due to stress basically can have heart attacks or smoking or stuff like that. Just basically things that should be known that are things. And also, I don't know if that was the right book. I don't even remember if I got the right book, but I just basically, I don't remember what I did, but I want to read it fast. I got a copy of it and I was like, whatever. I didn't do well. And then basically for the one about basically the other class, it was about dreams or something. I got one page done and then basically I teleported and then got into it. I lost track of the time. I didn't exist at all. But back to what I mean, that was a failing of failing. I'm a failure. Thank you. Welcome to me. Thank you. I can get here to a failure. Maybe I can talk about what I was going to talk about. I'm upfront and I will talk about whatever I'll talk about with you. And thank you for listening because I will keep on talking. So, I was trying to get back on what I was saying. Maybe you can watch my videos about my videos. Don't know why I put so many Gmails about other videos, but this videos will be my videos and I'll try to put anything in my videos for no one at all. I mean for anyone at all, but no one but by no one at all I meant no one will see my videos. I mean, it's fine. No one will see my videos. That's how it point because basically I basically get yeah. Um there's one time basically I basically tried cough syrup and then basically, yeah, I don't know, yeah, huh, 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 huh. So, huh, huh, so, so what was I talking about? So I was actually gonna say, um, I was actually gonna say, I was actually gonna say, that, what was I gonna say? There's a lot of life. I mean, I wasn't going to say this, but there's a lot of life that you know, and you can just fill your life with life that basically you can fulfill your life with. But maybe it's not for anyone. Oh, in the society I stand out. Well, no. I'm not socially, like, basically with anyone. My friend ended his life, and I don't know where to go. And basically, I was supposed to do something somewhere with basically my friends and live a life that basically was just a livelihood of paying for society. Because in elementary school, my mother said that basically you have to work for life because life is economy of work, but not basically not that, but I said that because I thought that because she says she has to go to work to pay for where she lives, and also not elementary school, but basically later on, you have to work to basically where you live because basically you don't own the house because property. Um, but there's rights. I mean, because property, because basically this life is in flooded, and she's still paying for the in floodedness, or she's completely broken up. But like, actually, she sold her. I mean, she bought a house and sold it because she said she had to pay mortgage or something. And I was like, what the hell is mortgage? You mean you have to pay 900,000 for mortgage? Why the fuck? What the hell is mortgage anyways? And then basically she said she bought it for 300,000, and then she sold it, so she gained some no money, and she pays like she basically does like 40 hours of work, and I'll be like, Jesus Christ, she's a great mom. I don't know. I don't know. No, she's a good working mom. I mean, I don't know how that's crazy to think about nowadays because I'm not working, and I was going to do the same thing, and I was like, I'm too exhausted to even live. Damn, but she's exhausted to live and working. But like 40 hours, and then basically like $15 an hour, and then but like 8 hours a day for like 5 days, and then basically that for 4 weeks, and then basically 2,000 for I mean like 1,500 and 100 and a few hundred for like 1,500 for just living, and then basically just 100 for like the rest of things, which basically is that, and then the rest for shopping. um so, and she doesn't even buy anything, and also just like 15 a month for Netflix, 15 just a month Netflix, and then Hulu, and then phone service, and then Wi-Fi, and then that's what she told me, and I was like, wow, that sounds expensive. At least you can pay that, but she's not paying that recently, so I mean, sorry for her. I should get a job and help her, but I am not. Anyways, I think she already tried to pay a place off, but she didn't get it or something. I don't know. But there's also just renting for just living somewhere, and then basically it's just living somewhere, and then basically there's buying, which is somehow is different things. I don't know, and I don't know what the mortgage, what, yeah. And also, I thought mortgage was to repair a place or to pay basically what dead people. Mortgage was to repair a place. I was wondering what she needed to repair the place for. Unless there was like a hurricane in Portland, and I'll be like, I don't know if there was a hurricane in Portland, but I don't think there was. And also, yeah, but yeah. Um, or if there was crazy things of things. Um, unless there's like terrible things going on everywhere because I'm insane in basically technology or things. There's some great movies. So what I was gonna say is that, I mean, that money thing was terrible. Nope, I can still breathe. But what I was gonna say was, what was I gonna say? I should have done something. What should I have done? I don't know. I guess I just got off of life work, and then I just fell off. So my thoughts won't answer, and this is like when I have memory of having memory of my thoughts and be like, hey, remember this? Reply back to me of another really long thing to have another really long thing to have about, and then say it again so I have something to talk about, so I can say that. So this was more of the present moment when I should have basically looked at it basically other ways, like the future stuff, or the past, or the world, but I can't see the world. And where I fit in this situation is just myself, This is myself, and also basically myself, and this is about myself. And then also, um, this is about me, and also, yeah, and also it was also, what else about myself? And also not the present, meaning the future thoughts, or just the external world, or the separate 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 world, or how I'm fitting in the separate world, or how I'm fitting in the same world, or the present, or the future, for going elsewhere, or the ways I could have gone, or where I could go, or what I am. And it's about me. This is myself. Welcome to Seeing About Myself. Hello, this is myself. If I didn't get my medicine, I felt like for a while, like people were watching me, but I actually didn't really believe it. But it was either I was insane and people did watch me, and there was like actually some evil force in the world that was trying to kill me, but it couldn't kill me, so I wasn't going to go sane enough to basically believe that basically there's something out there in the world other than basically something safe in the world besides people, or basically some monster force that basically tries to attack people. Um, another thing would be my mood. I actually don't have any emotions besides in my brain, and I don't know how to do that. But basically my heart, basically just my emotions are basically I'm just in my head. My emotions are somewhere else. My head emotions, not sure. My thoughts, I know how to do. How to wake up and go to sleep in the morning, I know how to do. um I worked for a bit and then did some cooking. Just basically keep the food fresh and basically make sure that basically the food doesn't mix where it gets all gross. And then basically cook the food so that basically it'll be cooked enough. Because basically you don't want the germs, because you have the refrigerator for germs. You don't want the germs to spread with basically mixing food. And then basically cook the food so you can get rid of the germs so that it can be eatable. Um, And then basically one time the other dumb thing was basically there's cells, and I was like, well, if if everything is so true to all these people that they taught me, I should probably go learn it again, because they were very funny and actually treated me with respect, because they were actually trying to teach me something. And I felt like I was they were like some random person in their own world, and it's not like there's some weird world where there's their own consciousness of conscious of basically there's this consciousness in the world where basically everyone's in their own reality of that basically everyone's in their own eternal reality, because reality is connected to what people are they're connected to. So what reality people are connected to, but maybe when my mom says the 9 month thing of basically when I was born, take 9 months and it takes 9 months, I totally thought that was my teacher for a second, but it's not. That was rude of me. But basically, maybe in some way consciousness, I knew that, and I knew I was myself was basically that, but I probably wouldn't be myself over here, which is weird, which is not good, which is not great, and probably who I have to reply to, which is weird, and I don't like that either. So that was all about me. Thank you. That was all. I was gonna tell something about my thoughts or something. So that's basically all about me. Um, I don't know why I had emails, but basically that. Do you know how basically stuff stores space? I'm not sure, but maybe it runs it with like potential stuff. But I should look at my potential. If I'm not living my livelihood of space and then basically creating what I'm creating, I mean, it basically, yeah, it's going fuzzy. Sorry, it's getting long, drag. I mean, you can watch my videos. Watch my videos for the meantime. Um, um, I watch TV shows sometimes. Can't remember all the TV shows. I write sometimes. Don't know. It's all random stuff. It was all waste. It was all. Maybe it wasn't a waste of time, but the way you spend your time, it actually comes back at you. Maybe there's karma. Maybe there's religion. Maybe there's karma. Maybe there's religion. Maybe there's of connection of life. Maybe there's supernaturalness. Supernaturalness. Um, Maybe there's consciousness. But yeah, do I want to talk about the books I read? Not really. But yeah, and then yeah, um, they didn't do it for me. They just said the whole thing out loud because they said the whole thing out. They said the whole thing out loud, and then I basically just did the work they told me to do, the work that they told me to. So they would say it, and I would just read it back, kind of like a monkey would hear something, and then I would do it back. That's what I did in high school. In middle school, we were taught it, and then I do it back. And in elementary school, they actually taught us, and we did it back, and I have to remember that. So I have to remember it just by remembering it, and I'll be like, yeah. But you know, a computer, they're made of just like whatever pieces, and they just work well. Like, that's so cool. I mean, not so cool, but like, I gotta figure that out, and I gotta figure other things out. But college, they're more like, I don't know what college is. College is like, figure out how to do it yourself so you can do it yourself. Maybe. And then basically live a life. But I realized there's not enough time to do when you have work. Yeah, 8 to 5. Okay, see, okay, there's like, I don't remember how there's time enough. When I went to school, I woke up at 6. I woke up at 6. At 6. I started wedding to school at 7. I mean, I had breakfast. I started wedding to school at 7. And then basically got there at 8. At 8 to 2, at 2:30, I went to work. I went to school. And then I was at school from 2:30 to 2:30 to 2:30 to 2:30 to 2:30 to 3. I went to work, and then basically 3 to 3 to, what did I do? 3 3 to 11 I went. 3 to 11 3 to 11 I was at work, and then I basically 11 to 12, and then my mom picked me up, and then basically 11 to 6 I slept in. And then on the days off, on my Saturday, I hanged out with friends. And then on Sunday, I went to church and then hanged out with friends. Church is basically 11 to 12, and then I hanged out with friends. That was what I was doing. But I realized that if I was just doing that with work, just basically 8 to 4, then basically 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, that's literally my whole day, because I don't know what to do in the morning time, and then the rest of the time I would be sleeping. And I was like, how did I fit everything in a day? I don't know. And then I just affected. And in rehab, I was thinking about that, and they would just work all day. And I was like, damn, work all day? That sucks. And then school, I was gonna work all day and go to school. And I was like, yeah, ignorance is bliss. Someone told me that, and I was like, you gotta be joking. Ignorance is bliss. You're not saying I'm blissful. And we made jokes and stuff, and we had fun talks, and we were all doing vibey stuff. But honestly, I can't handle this anymore. I don't know what my bliss went. I need bliss to do stuff. And I was like, yeah, just always gain stuff for yourself. It's like free XP. Gain stuff for everything. Everything is not a drag. That would be awesome. Holy shit. There was people who were dragging, and I was just basically making them. They were all funny. There was all people just saying awesome things of just basically not being drags. Yeah, that's literally it all. But everything feels like a drag always. And I'll be like, those people are drags, and I feel like a drag. And honestly, everything should not be a drag. But honestly, I should know how to socialize again too. That's what I gotta figure out. And also, I have to figure out how to basically be better over the internet. because I don't understand the internet, and also be good. I mean, not be good at games. I gotta figure out what if I delete my post and also ruin my games, and that basically I could actually go back to being actually good at what I was doing. That's all I gotta do. What I gotta do. Also, I feel like I don't know what day it is, and I just count the day. The days just count itself, and I'll be like, yeah, it's totally that day every day, and I'll just basically show up to every day, and I'll be like, yeah, I know what I'm doing every day, and the days actually make sense of what I was doing because I go here as if I know what the day is instead of like actually having it on a mental plane. I feel like I'm more on the physical plane of things. Like I'm in the physical plane when there's supposed to be a mental or spiritual plane, but basically I'm basically doing fun in the physical plane with just basically having thoughts. That's what I was doing when basically my mental and spiritual plane were doing some other things. And I was like, what? Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Wouldn't it just be a plane if it basically is that? It's like basically a plane if it's anywhere. Yeah. Anyways, this crow's crowing on quack, 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 quack. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I don't have enough things to say what I want to say. What did I want to say? Um, hmm. I don't know. Why is computers? Oh yeah, DNA is just like. Oh yeah, they also in basically biology. There's like the way that basically animals eat animals so they don't go extinct. So called in the wolves. But there's some news about wolves. I should watch the news because I should catch up on the news. But basically, there's wolves that eat deers and deers that reproduce, and then they have a cycle of like reproduce. I don't know about that, but it's fine. And then basically, CO2 basically means a carbon footprint from basically blah blah blah, and it gets trapped in the blah blah blah. But the ozone is supposed to protect us, and then basically blah blah blah. It was in middle school. I mean, middle school, the ozone was supposed to protect us, and then basically we release oxygen, and there's supposed to be releasing of oxygen somewhere from like plants or humans or something, and then also and then basically the DNA of combining patterns of AC, AT, and CG, in basically things, and only AT can join each other, and CG can join each other, and there's different ways of doing that. And there's building blocks of muscles that basically build up blocks. There's also 4 types of foods. There's like bread, there's basically meat, and then there's like some other two, and then there's fruits and vegetables, and yeah, that's about it. And then just know how to write, and then So yeah, what else did I take? I don't know. Oh, history. Yeah, I read in history and answered the questions. That's what I did too. I'm not going to all go through my history, but that was all. Yeah, that's me. And then I have extra credit classes. That was physical fitness, and then also one other one, which I don't remember if I did my extra credit classes. Thank you. Bye. I didn't do my extra credit classes, but I'm gonna graduate anyways. That was all I did. That's literally everything I did with my life, besides socializing and wasting time on the internet. YouTube. I mean, I don't remember YouTube. It's gone. YouTube is gone. And also, I mean, that's all. And TV. That's all. Yeah, that's all. And then my videos. And then typing. That's all I did. And then games. That's all. That's my life. Yeah. Also, I thought I shit myself, or maybe I did, but I didn't shit myself once, and then basically went home, woke up, and then did that, and then whatever. Yeah. Also, there was one time I dated someone, another time I dated someone. There could be a whole story of the days we dated someone. I also broke up with them. I broke up with them, and then also I smoked weed, and that's all I did. That's all I did. I had friends. And we talked, and then we basically talked about whatever, and then that was about it. That's my life. My life. Thank you. Bye.